Good morning, afternoon, and evening, everyone. It's the first international break of what has been a rough FPL season so far. In this first pod over the international break, we will be looking back at the first 3 weeks, and next week we will be back with the regular Game Week 4 pod. I'm your host, Zoph, and I'm joined by my co hosts, Late Riser and Pras. Welcome back home, Pras.
Sorry, I couldn't hear you. I was doing the Bruno Fernandes knee slide.
How many
Thank
times
you,
did you
thank
say,
you.
I love you, Bruno, last weekend?
I mean, dude, I was, we were texting LR and I. Of course, as a Man United fan, LR's incentives are aligned, right? So FPL comes second. And so I was telling him I could not, like, normally I'm quite good with this stuff, emotions. But I was literally on my knees behind the sofa when he was taking the penalty. I was like, if he misses this, I don't know how calm I'll be because of all the other things. So, anyway, to answer your question, good man. Came back 2 days ago. Still a little bit jet lagged. Kids still not back to school. So, it's still a little bit manic. But for a change, good to have the international break because we've had a lot of swings in the first 3 weeks.
How about you, LR?
I mean, things are all right. The last two transfers in I had were Cunha and Sar. So it seems to be a world in which you insert, then eject immediately, words not firing, and I don't even have Semenyo. So that's where we are.
Well done. Well done.
Well done, indeed. I mean, there's a lot of debate that's going on in the community, and I find it amusing whether Bruno owners got lucky or unlucky. And I just wanted to say a little bit about that, right? What we preach on the FPL Wire is put yourself in a position to get lucky. So there's nothing like, a guy who plays 90 plus minutes and on penalties, he got a penalty in the 95th minute, and it was a penalty. Soft, but if you ask me, it was a penalty. And if you look at the overall balance of the game, right, I think 9 to 10 points is what he deserved. So I'm firmly in the point it was absolutely par for the course, but I think as a Cunha owner, LR and I are allowed to say that we got unlucky a little bit, right? Because you look at the
Not a little. Come on. You got unlucky. Like there's no sugarcoating it or underselling it.
Absolutely, because any player, right? Look at the bell curve of probabilities. It always exists the potential that they get injured. Like take Palmer for example, and what we saw with Saliba this weekend, right? Palmer could have also started the game, said I'll try, and then gone off injured after 2 to 3 minutes. Does that make him a bad pick? No, it's just something that can happen, right? And so we just need to keep that in mind. This is the game we play.
Agreed, completely. And for LR, poor LR, even Sar today, the news, both transfers getting injured. That's not cool, man.
And the entire mindset, this entire preseason has been, let's try to, save some transfers, be a little patient. I've been pretty chilled out and patient with everything that I've been doing also. So it is what it is.
Right. Should we get started, guys?
Yeah, let's get into the sponsor plugs, and then there's just an insane deadline day to discuss as well. So
I mean, we could have done an
Absolutely.
entire
Can't
pod on
discuss.
it, right? That's what I was just mentioning in the Discord. We could actually go team by team, discuss all the transfers in and outs that happens. It's just been insane. I can't remember a window like it in my 20 years of watching the Premier League now.
likewise.
Top 10 out of the top 10 spenders across Europe, the top 9 were English teams.
I mean,
So
look at
that tells you how much movement
it's
has
crazy. A
happened.
team like Brentford is bidding for the starting striker for a team like Dortmund, who are previously Champions League finalists. That just shows you where the Premier League is now in terms of spending power. Absolutely
Yep.
mental. Anyway, let's kick off.
As always, all the data that you see on this podcast is from the Fantasy Football Scout members area. Tip my hat to you, Zoph. I thought your video this morning, on Monday morning, with the data was really, really enjoyable. It just brings you up to speed within 15 minutes in terms of everything that you need to know in terms of data as well. If you do want to become a member, Scout have actually a really good offer. They're giving a free hand again, where they're giving you access to a 14-day free trial for the Scout membership, which I reckon you really, really should take up, explore the area, and see if you want to hang around after that as well. If you're become a member, scan this QR code or click on the link in the description below.
Let's get started. First up, let's look at some of the
Zoph.
Yep.
TV shows and Nod.
Of course, Nod is first. I keep forgetting we got Nod back this one. My bad. Right. So Nod VPN, as you guys know, Nod has been a long-term partner of the FPL Wire. If you're bored of the streaming libraries in your country, with Nod VPN, you can access content outside your region, get access to a wider library on your favorite streaming services. And if you're traveling outside your country, you can access your home library content. Every purchase of the 2-year NordVPN plan using the link nordvpn.com/FPLWire will receive an additional 4 bonus months on top. Any TV show recommendations, guys? It's an international break now, so we could all use some.
I mean, I saw a show which I wouldn't like to recommend. Does that count? I saw Zero Day from on Netflix. Wafer thin plot. There's not much, but thankfully there's a lot coming on in September, which I am looking forward to. So it looks like it shouldn't be as bad as the August was.
What about you, Pras?
I mean, the content is always phased, right? They don't have a lot in the summer because they know people are not sitting on their couches in the evenings as much as the autumn or the fall. So I was watching this BBC show called The Capture. It's now on Netflix as well, and the season 2 has just got released. And I don't know if any one of you guys have watched it, but The Capture, it's actually quite nice, and it's like a mystery. And there's a video that shows somebody has done something, but the guy says he's not. So I like it. It's good. And I think the last we spoke, I had finished the Wednesday as well. And that was basically split in 2 parts. So the second part will be coming later this week, I think. So I also really enjoyed that. So both would be recommended.
The shows I'm watching right now are Chief of War, Peacemaker, Dexter Resurrection, and a show called Platonic that I find really funny with Seth Rogen, and Roseburn. Roseburn is just an absolute delight.
Platonic is the one on Apple, right?
Yes, season 2
Yeah,
just
okay,
started.
okay. We started it. Yeah.
It's fun.
Oh, I saw a movie in the theaters over the weekend called The Roses, and it was the writing is a delight. I recommend go to the theaters and watch that one. Really enjoyed it.
Getting back to Nod, Nod also has an efficient anti-malware and anti-spyware protection tool. It highlights any attack and deletes it before it makes a mess of your computer. Grab your exclusive NordVPN deal by going to nordvpn.com/FPL Wire. It's completely risk-free with Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee. Sign up using the link in the description below. Going up. So guys, we are focusing primarily on the transfers that happened over the weekend, right? Obviously, there's some that happened prior to that, which we pretty much covered going into game week 3. But let's look at the ones that were interesting. Let's to start with some of these ones over here. Like Zinchenko going to Forest, I thought was interesting. And in general, I think Forest are a team that look to be suffering a bit of an identity crisis, right? They're looking to recruit all these sexy players to change the brand of football. And I don't know if these guys are necessarily a good fit, right? Now look at the guys they've bought. They've got Zinchenko. We got somebody else. They got this guy Bakwa. They spent 30 million on him. I generally have no idea who he is. I'm going to have to do a Danny Rose on most of these guys. But yeah, let's look at some of these. Let's look at the first page over now. Igor Julio, the whole saga was quite interesting, right? He was supposed to go to Palace, and that apparently has scuppered the whole Gay move. And that's just so
It's,
So he was
disappointing,
not
right?
seen as adequate cover, right? He was
Yeah.
not seen as adequate cover.
The Gehi thing I just found so disappointing, man. A guy behaves so well, plays for his team, plays in the last minute, and somebody who plays for a move. You look at even Eze, look at Isaac. They're down tools and they get the moves. This guy doesn't. It's just such a bad precedent to set.
Yeah, and then it just came down to the Julio move actually fell through because Glasner wouldn't promise him guaranteed minutes, which is why that didn't happen, and that's why the spiral. I mean, I was talking to a couple of Liverpool fans, and I thought if it was looking like the Gehi move would prove to be that difficult, they could have just shifted to another centre back target because I think it's that crucial and that vital in terms of depth. They don't have as much CV depth as they should, and especially both Gomez and Konate are slightly glass legs, right? So. I no doubt in my mind they buy one in Jan.
Some other names that stood out here. I think Harvey Elliott is potentially one of the biggest moves we've seen over the window at 5.5 million. Could be a real steal. I think he was the player of the tournament in the under 21s recently. Very, very high ceiling again. And I think, again, he can play in the middle, can play on the right. You also got the freedom fighter now who'll probably play on the left, Mr. Sancho. So generally some more flair needed in that Villa team. You guys more optimistic about Villa's prospects in general now?
I'm not sure about optimistic, but out of all the names that happened yesterday, outside of Isak, obviously, the one that I'm most interested in the lower budget bracket at the moment is Harvey Elliott at 5.5 million. If he nails down that spot, I'm interested. I rate the player.
Plus, what about the
Agreed.
goalkeeper move? I think you guys disappointed, missed out on Martinez. Tell me about Zlamen's guy. Do you know much about him?
I mean, not much in the sense that I've not watched him a lot. I've read it a lot and watched some comps, but I'm not going to act like I know the guy in and out. What I've read is that his stats are a little confusing. He seems to be coming out and catching a lot of crosses and coming out of the box and preventing a lot of these crosses. but it's because he's proactive, not because he's really good at it. So there's a little bit of concern there, but he's a good shot stopper, good in the ball. So I think it solves a problem. Is there a risk that in 6 months he makes a couple of mistakes and there's a little pressure on him? I'm a little fearful of it. It's a 23-year-old keeper, right? So if you were to say you have unlimited money, you go Martinez and this guy, you take a year and you bet in Martinez and you play with him, use his experience, and then you get Lamels for a year later. But we don't. So I think it's an upgrade on Onana. So that's all I'll say.
You were going to say something on Villa, I think, before I interrupted you. Anything to add on Elliot and Villa in general?
No, I was actually going to say that Elliot coming in just makes me think that Villa should function better. You can't do any worse than what they have done so far anyway. But they're crying out for a number 10 or somebody on the right? He's not trusting Malin. So if you get a Sancho on the left, if you have Rogers and Elliot interchanging middle and on the right, then you have a nice free flowing attack, especially against easier opposition. So game week 5, game week 7, they play promoted teams. Those are good games where all four of them can play up top or in the forward line. So I like it from that perspective. In the harder games, I would still think that Emery would prefer Kamara and Onana as the midfield pivot or Tielemans. So therefore, I would think Elliot or Sancho miss out or something like that. So I don't particularly think Elliot we jump in right now as an FPL pick, but he makes other FPL picks like Rogers, Watkins better. That's at least my initial view.
I agree with that. And generally, Emery doesn't have his wingers hold width. They always come inside a little bit, sort of like number 10. So I think that really suits Elliot's profile, being naturally left-footed to play on the right. Moving on to the next one, Yohan Wissa. That's also interesting now at Newcastle. I think there's going to be a bit of rotation there potentially with a very tough group in the UCL. What do you think there, LR?
Newcastle, thankfully, don't have like a great run of fixtures immediately off the bat, right? Like they play Forest and Arsenal couple of game weeks. So we can take our time to assess in terms of how Eddie Howe is treating his squad, how he's treating his rotation. And then we jump in because there's a learning curve there, right? They seem to have 2 picks for every position. He seems to have 2 systems as well. I mean, nobody was expecting, there was a lot of people that went to Langa and Barnes as a 2-3 week punt and have been bitten. So that just tells me, wait and watch, don't indulge in Newcastle at the moment. But out of the ones that have gone there, Gordon and Wissa are the ones on my radar.
You don't think the new guy, I forgot his name, do you think he'll be most likely the starting forward with Wissa sort of a backup, or do you think they'll share minutes?
I think they give Wissa the starting role because he's experienced with the league, etc. I think that's why the Wissa signing was that crucial, because this guy is a young guy who's not played a lot of football at the top level. He's got a lot of promise, but somebody like Wissa just helps bed into the league and take his time, a few minutes, etc. as well. So I think you wait and watch. Wissa is the pick there, or will be the pick there at some point, but we just don't know at the moment. The other guy is interesting, right? Because he's this 6'6", 6'8" giant, and everything that I've read says that he plays like a dwarf and looks like a giant. So it's just an interesting player to watch, in my opinion.
Were you also watching the Athletic live stream yesterday, LR?
No, I wasn't.
Okay, so during the transfer deadline, they described him exactly like you mentioned. Maybe it's just
I must have seen it on Twitter.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I think you described it well. I don't think we're gonna go with Voldemort for now, and he's not gonna start immediately. He's a little bit of creating space. So eventually, he will be great actually for Gordon and Ilanga if they're playing around him. A mini Harry Kane was also how he was described, not in talent, but in terms of play style. So he gets involved in the midfield a little bit more, drops deep, and so he allows the wingers to play well. But I think traditionally, like you said, they will start with a Premier League experience. Wissa is 29, so you're not going to get him just to share minutes. You're going to get him to play a lot of games, and then you get Voldemort into your team eventually.
Yeah,
be interesting to see who's on penalties.
That's the big one. Gordon or Wissa, I reckon.
Yeah.
Anything else on
and
this
it's going
list?
to be interesting from game week 13.
Yeah. Kevin is interesting. That Chief
We
might
needed a
get
Kevin.
really popular. Yeah. But apparently he scored in the last 3 Europa League games in a row as well. So just an interesting name to watch from Shakhtar. Fulham, I mean, they need some players playing wide, and I think he comes into the first team picture pretty soon. So keep an eye on for that one.
we already discussed. Obviously, let's talk about Isak, the big one. It's going to be very interesting now how the Liverpool attack shapes up. I'm just used to saying Newcastle. The Liverpool attack shapes up going forward, right? Because I think the Isak advantage is, I think he is quite effective on the left as well. He plays there for Sweden, but you would expect him to be Newcastle's starting centre forward long term. And we will find out about the whole dynamic with Salah and how it goes. But obviously, I think initially, Pras, not an invest right now. We have to give it a couple of weeks, right? I think we expect him to need some time to build match fitness.
I think so. Like he's playing for Sweden, so that's the first thing. That we'll see how much he's playing for Sweden. Is he ready to play? Like he plays if he puts in a 90-90, then he's much more likely to be ready for Burnley. But the skepticism is there that he's not played any minute. So is he match fit? He's been training alone. So what is going on there? Is he ready for a slot system? And slot doesn't need to do it. Like what would Ekitike feel if in the first game Isak is available, he's not even 100% match fit, that Ekitike sits out? Now I'm not saying Ekitike that's how it will work. Maybe Ekitike plays on the left, but we just don't know. And the answer, as of information that we have right now, is that he probably takes a couple of games. Maybe he starts the Everton home game, which will be a derby, and it's a home Anfield game, rather than the away Burnley, where he's not really needed. He's not needed in any game, to be honest. But that would be my guess.
I was in Josh's DMs, and I'll just read out what he had to say, because I told him a lot of people are interested in terms of how that affects everybody else before Burnley and Everton because of those fixtures. So this is what Josh said, and I'm just going to quote him word for word. Solid chance nothing changes for the next 2 weeks. Isak has been training on his own all summer. Hard to tell whether he'll be ready or not. But once he's good to go, I think Ekitike will be the casualty. Isak will probably get subbed early in his first few starts with Ekitike coming on. And over a longer period of time, Gakpo will start sharing his minutes with him too. So it's just a wait and watch. And in terms of FPL picks or something for wildcarders, I think Salah's a pick. I think Wirtz is still a pick. And I think you don't go near Gakpo or Ekitike if you're in the market for a long-term pick. If you're in the market for a short-term punt, Gakpo is still on the menu, I reckon.
I think defensively, Liverpool are a bit short also because I don't trust Konate or Gomez for fitness. That's another thing we don't see mentioned over here. The lack of Gehi, I think, will hurt them over the season. I think they'll have to score a lot of goals to make up for how many they'll ship.
They just need to hope that they are fit until December, because Liverpool will sign 1 or 2 centre-backs in Jan, I reckon, given their depth.
I think they'll get Gehi in Jan because they won't let him go for free, right? They'll want to get some at least nominal value.
Yep.
Yeah, they'll plan for which centre back they want to get now over the next 3 months. So I think we're in agreement here. Is it controversial to say they needed Gehi more than Isak? People won't Liverpool fans won't like to hear it. But come on, man, their attack is already great.
They agree also.
Yeah.
Especially based on what we've seen the first few weeks. Because the midfield is looking a lot more porous and they're a bit short of a ball progressor also, I think. I think Konate is struggling with the absence of Trent. Konate's passing is actually quite limited. He would just lay it off to Trent, let Trent do his thing. And Gehi is very good with the ball. We have seen that for Palace.
But Isak is Salah.
Isak is Isak. Again, he's a world-class talent. Potentially one of the best
upgrade.
number
Of course, it is an upgrade. Yeah. So, I mean, of course, he will upgrade the attack. But what I meant was, where do you get more benefit if you were to pick one? But Isak is like signing Isak and then, Gehi eventually. They would be favorites for Premier League by far. Champions League even, I would say they're favorites. Like, it just levels up the team. Of course, Isak is incredible.
He's arguably the best or second best striker in Europe. So it's just that what it is. It's a very interesting pod I was listening to in the summer from the Athletic boys. And they were talking about how football is a random sport, right? In terms of how much high variances there is in such a low event sport. So Pep teams used to counterbalance this variance by absolutely blowing teams off because they used to win games by 3-0, 4-0. But now the top 10 teams in the Premier League are getting more and more competitive. So the incremental value to having somebody like Isak is a lot more, because you will have games where you will win by 2-0, 3-0 a lot more frequently because he will take the chances that he have. If you think about that, because Liverpool tend to take more risk than an Arsenal do, because they have the insurance from generational defenders and goalkeepers like Van Dijk and Alisson, for example. Arsenal actually have the capability of taking that many risks because of Gabriel and Saliba being there, but they don't do it. And which is why there's a lot of 0-0, 1-0 sort of wins on either side, which is why they're a lot more prone to luck and variance on either side because they don't blow off teams, which is why Liverpool become more favorites to win the title.
Liverpool were there for the
Mm.
taking, man, this weekend. I thought Arsenal were way too negative at Anfield.
But I thought Liverpool defended well, man. At no point did they look uncomfortable, if you ask me.
Right, but I still
Oh, that's
wanted to
true.
see more from Arteta. This is the time you could attack Liverpool. They're going to be much better, I would think, 4 or 5 weeks from now. But he's just so negative in these away games to the big sides.
I mean,
Just
the
devil's
fairer ask
advocate,
is you want to see
no
more from
Saka.
Liverpool. Like Arteta, whether Saka's played or not, has never attacked a big game fixture in 3 years.
I just think away, Arsenal were away. They were without Odegaard, without Saka. I'll give them cut them a little slack. I know there is a narrative that he played 4 centre backs and 3 DMs, but yeah, I mean, could he take a chance and play a kid like Nwaneri instead of Odegaard? I don't know. If Odegaard could have been thrown in, I don't know. But Saka was clearly injured. Eze was not ready to start. So I still think Arsenal, had to take that approach pragmatically. And so because they took that approach, the game was a little bit, it was meh. Like when you'll get Eze starting off the left, it'll be a completely different ball game. I think Eze and Saka.
But I'll tell you what, even if Saka starts, right, I don't think the direction of the game would have changed that much. It's just how
Wait,
Arteta sets up on big games.
this is true also. I think both can
Yeah.
be true.
Yeah.
How good was Szoboszlai?
Oh, good.
Insane, man.
Right back,
At right back,
didn't
I think
lose
now
anything.
he has to be first choice while Frimpong is out, especially because very different dynamic, the way he comes into midfield, the passing range, and that's how Liverpool play, right? It's very similar to the Trent role he can occupy.
There's a lot to hate about Liverpool fans in general, right? But Slot, man, you can't not like the guy. He's hassle free, doesn't do any drama, makes beautiful small adjustments that work like magic, doesn't create too much of a fuss, goes about his business quietly. Just a great manager, man.
Completely agree. In-game subs and in-game changes, very good from. And we saw it last season.
And has time for the media. Likes to explain those tactical changes which us football fans like to listen to as well.
Move on to the next one. Spurs. Muani is interesting. There's news that Solanke might be out for an extended period, and Richarlison, as we know, will struggle to start 3 games a week. Russ, your thoughts there?
I think he's a good player. Like he could play off the left or he could play centrally. So you can even think that Muani could start some games off the left in the Richarlison with him and then some up top. So I think it's a good, this is without Xavi Simons as well, who will also upgrade the attack.
Yeah.
So I hate to praise all these teams that are rivals of our teams, but yeah, they've all done well, man. Like these days, the whole clown show of transfer activity that the people on this podcast, their owners have done. I don't think clubs have been very sensible. You look at everyone's window, you speak to any fan, Spurs fans will say they've had a generational window, Man United fans will say the same, Arsenal fans will say the same, Liverpool fans obviously will say the same. So Chelsea, I don't know, you can give your view, but I think Spurs have had a good window.
Yeah, and that also, after losing out on Gibbs White and Eze, they recovered well and made sure that the squad talent level is high.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Simmons while we're on Spurs. He's now coming at 7.0 in FPL, which I think is a fair price. You'd want him to be just slightly less than Solanke. But I do think he's going to take over a lot of set pieces. Porter is going to lose them to him. Simmons is very good at them. He could potentially be the pick. LR?
Yeah, he could be the pick. But that's why just generally macro less keen to play the wildcard also, because there's just so much to learn still. We don't know how Spurs are going to shape up. Europe is just about going to start now after game week 4 as well. How are teams treating Europe and the league, etc. as well? We don't know. We just don't know at the moment. So still continue being a sponge, because there's very few short bets coming in the next 5-6 weeks at the moment.
Eric in the chat says we have to say Kolo Muani. It's he's a little bit like Oscar Bob. We can't just say Muani.
Okay.
Fair enough. Move on to Hincape. I think he's one for later, not going to start right away. Even with Saliba out, it's going to be most likely Mosquera.
He's a left back, right?
I thought he's a centre back.
Left centre back? Or left, like he's a cover for Saliba, I guess.
That's what I assume.
Or Gabriel. No, Mosquera is the cover for Gabriel. One of the, it's those two, right? They are the two centre back covers. So it'll be interesting. Mosquera did really well, by the way, against Liverpool. Like it didn't show at all that he was playing such a big game. He played pretty much 80 plus minutes or 70 plus minutes?
Looks like a good talent. Anything else on this list in particular?
I'm interested in your thoughts on Buonanotte.
I mean, it's just a classic Brighton thing. We just like to farm players from them. I think we'll probably loan him out somewhere. I mean, we were earlier linked with Enciso, right? I think we couldn't get Enciso, so we went for Buonanotte. It's just a Brighton thing.
You've got Enciso, no? Like not you, but some sister club, and then
Something
we
with
get him in a
Strasbourg
year.
or whatever Todd does, man.
Such shady business, man. Seriously, like
But
sickening
Todd's had a
stuff.
good window, man. Look at the outgoings. We got good money this time. Very impressed. Look at the money we got for Jackson. Can you believe that?
70 million, bloody hell.
Nicky
There's a
J.
lot. I mean, the fees that you guys must be paying your accountants must be worth it, well, I reckon.
Absolutely, man.
Yeah.
They must be brown.
What do you think about Garnacho?
Garnacho again, and let's link that to the whole Guiu conversation. Now Chelsea actually have a lot of wingers now. We have now Garnacho, we have Neto, we have Gittins, and we have Estevao. So what this effectively means, right? I think it's going to be very limited game time for Palmer on the wing because just so many wingers there, right? So effectively, you're going to see Palmer more at number 10, which means Pedro more at number 9, given that Delap is out, which I think means game time will only be sub appearances, I think, going forward, unless you have the odd game which he decides that maybe he wants to rest Palmer, or maybe he wants to play Palmer on the right. But Guiu, now the appeal is completely dead, in my opinion. I was hoping there was a chance that he could potentially get some consistent minutes, but having thought about it and look at the players that have come in, I don't think so. It's very unlucky for guys who've got now, let's say, Pedro, Palmer, and a Cucurella, right? Now they just have to make the Guiu transfer out.
This is my pod partner on Deadline Dilemmas, Mo. He's got Cucurella, Palmer, and João Pedro and Guiu. So he has to sell one of them for sure this week.
Ella, your thoughts on RTM?
I mean, João Pedro's a beast. What else do you say? I didn't know that he was a set piece monster as well. Minutes look good for him.
Did you know he's
especially because
6'2"?
Yes, I did.
I
He
didn't
looks
know
as a
that.
big guy. Yeah.
I don't know, maybe because
Just
his price at 5.5, I was just like, maybe he's a little guy. I don't know.
No, man. Pedro and Palmer, man. Good picks. In fact, I'm hoping to see if Palmer's going to be fit for Game Week 4 because there's not many bids to buy at the moment. So, we'll see where we are next Friday.
Yes, there was one more name I think I mentioned, right, in the chat. There was Simmons and Ewan, who's not on this list. Was there anything else we need to discuss?
Sunderland generally are interesting. They bought another striker probably from Ajax. I know because Ten Hag was obsessed with him every time he was at us, and we were always linked with him. And they got Gertrude as well. It's a pretty highly rated defender as well. So I like the business they're doing. It's just an exciting club, and I'm hoping there's another season of the documentary as well.
Good, guys. Should we wrap this up?
Yep, let's wrap up and let's get into just macro discussion in terms of what we've learned so far before we move into the wildcard discussion.
Shout out to everybody in the Discord, man. I asked them. So basically, what we normally do in this section, if you're watching the pod the first time, is we ask people to present their dilemmas for the week going forward. But since this pod is more looking back, I asked the Discord to just give us their learnings for the season so far, and we'll sort of put it through the stress test whether we agree how accurate it is or to what extent we disagree. So let's get started. First one now with Rico again just talks about DEFCON, about the cheaper guys having more appeal now rather than the likes of your Cucurella, Gabriel, etc. And I'll come to you, Pras. Now, let's say you've been advocating somebody like a Gabriel, get him in for game week 7. And things what we are seeing now, somebody like your Anderson, somebody like a Richards, can potentially get that clean sheet with a higher ceiling also. And these are good defenses we are talking about. So is the appeal of these guys like Gabriel potentially a bit lower now based on what we have seen?
I mean, a bit, but you see the problem is we are judging it based on the first 3 game weeks or maybe even the first 6 game weeks. And we have talked about this in the past that the fixture run for Man City, for Liverpool, for Arsenal has been very mixed. So the point is that we actually haven't seen a clear run where these good defenders have good fixtures with lots of clean sheet potential and some attacking potential. So when an 8 Nouri gets 5 good fixtures in 7, then are you going to be thinking about Murillo or are you going to be thinking about 8 Nouri? I'm not there. So when I'm thinking about getting Gabriel for game week 6, 7 onwards for 5-6 weeks, I'm thinking he could get 5 clean sheets in 7 games. Will he? Of course, there's no guarantees. But DEFCON is nice. DEFCON is nice as a protection, as an insurance. If you need to play this player, like, I was saying before the pod last week that Anderson is 3 points minimum Like he will concede 2, but he's going to get DEFCON.
You remember, Pras, who recommended Richards over Agbari to you? I can't recall exactly.
Solio Analytics. Oh, no, it was Zoph, of course. No. So, to be honest, like, okay, I'll give you the credit. I should not say anything else. But yeah, Richards is great. Like, he's a great pick because every game he's there for DEFCON. He's playing for a good defense, 4.5 million. And, you don't need to worry about him. But I think you can go for higher ceilings by spending a little bit more because the why do we want a cheap defense? Because we always want more attackers, more expensive attackers. But it's not always true. Like João Pedro is beating Guaqueres by long distance. So it's not that you have to get, but the gap has reduced. This is, I think, the summary where just like with keepers, sometimes people have a very strong view. Just go for 4.5 keepers. They'll get save points. Don't worry about the Rayas. They don't get save points. They'll get clean sheet points. Similarly, now you can have the similar argument that the cheaper guys can get DEFCON points. So the gap between a Gabriel and an Anderson or a Lacroix or a Richards has reduced. But for fixture blocks, I still think Gabriel is worth it. I still think getting Guardiol when he's fit, these guys are still elite. Like Cucurella could be doing a lot more than what he has so far. It's just that he's not ended up getting, he's got 2 clean sheets already. It's those guys that will get points still. I still believe in that.
Fair shout. LR, where are you on this?
Yeah, I mean, there's no right or wrong answer here, but I do think you don't ignore the great runs for teams like Arsenal because I think they are by far the best defense in the league that focus on defense. So you need to get a defender to cover for Arsenal defense, I reckon, when the good fixtures come in. But you can shape your squad in a Liverpool sort of way as well, where you can go very, very cheap at the back now. You can go Rodon plus a Sunderland 4.0 plus 2 4.5s plus an Arsenal defender because the landscape in terms of how many premium attackers we might want in 3-4 weeks might look very different. Haaland's killing it. Salah doesn't look like a good pick, but you'd be stupid to write Salah off, in my opinion. Isak is somebody we could want. Gyökeres is these are expensive players. So to afford that, because of DEFCON, you can afford to go cheaper at the back because it validates going for the expensive attackers.
I completely get what you're saying because I like the idea of having one premium and maybe the rest cheapies. Sort of gives you flexibility to hop on, hop off, according to the fixture runs as well. But in terms of structure, I generally do think now I'm going to be spending a lot less in defense. I don't think I'll be going with 3.5 plus, 5.5 plus guys like I generally preferred in previous seasons.
Yep.
I have a Salah rant as well later. As part of the macro, let's talk about him as well.
Absolutely, he's on here.
Yeah.
Move on to the next one.
I mean, I'm looking at the defenders. Calafiori is number 1, Chalobah is number 2, Timber is number 3, Senesi, Gehi, Lacroix. I mean, in terms of the overall point scorers, there's not much in it yet, but jury's out, like we said.
It's only 3 games, right? So one big score, obviously, like Senesi gets a 14, that exaggerates it.
Yeah.
We move on to the Haaland question. This is a very interesting one because Haaland looks very on it right now as per FPL Heritage, and he's actually got more XG than 11 teams right now in the league, including Liverpool. That's a very interesting one because you watch the Brighton game, the first half, you can see everything is being channeled towards Haaland, but there's no doubt in my mind that this is the worst supply line that Pep has had during his tenure at Man City. In terms of creativity, there's just very little in that team. You have Oscar Bob on the right who's trying it, who now Marmoush is sort of playing as an inside forward with Nouri holding the left, but they don't have that De Bruyne, they don't have that David Silva level of creativity in midfield. Even Reinders, I don't look at him as being a proper number 10 in terms of creating. So while Haaland is getting the chances and everything is being funneled into him, LR, is he going to be getting that many chances as before?
Yes. So that it ties in with the largest macro point that I want to make today is that there is just a lot of noise at the moment with the performance levels of teams at the moment. Like you need to take into consideration how much instability there has been in at least 15 clubs in the league, given the amount of transfer window rotation that has happened in the last week or so. In terms of player turnover, at every team we're looking at maybe 4 or 5 new faces in the starting 11, maybe with the exception of Arsenal, but Arsenal also now are in that thing because of so look at all the top clubs. There is like 4 starters that are new in every top club. Team chemistry and gelling is a thing. These players have just shown up there, especially teams like Man City who've come in, who've had 1 week of training and they've been thrown into the mixer grinder just because they didn't have as much of a preseason as other teams. So in terms of assessing players, in terms of assessing picks, we have no clue at the moment. All our shots are so far off in the dark at the moment in terms of what we're saying and we're thinking that I don't think you can convincingly form substantial conclusions about anything at the moment. So, just take everything that you see with a pinch of salt, because I think Game week 7, 8 onwards is when we'll start seeing picks in teams that are actually legit, that are actually substantial, that we might see patterns, etc. Before that, there's a lot of noise. And in this uh, ecosystem of noise, Haaland is as sure a thing as you can get at the moment, because he plays for a team that's called Manchester City, that is managed by Pep Guardiola. And there wasn't much between Guardiola's City and uh, slots Liverpool in terms of performance and XG difference, but it's outcome that is dictating how we are seeing certain points, etc. as well, which has the noise associated with it.
Plus, where are you on Erling? I know you currently plan to get him in on the Game Week 6 free hit and not necessarily for the fixtures after. From what you have seen, where are you leaning now?
Nothing has changed. Like, I think Haaland is
We have, plus, you're breaking up your audio. I couldn't hear anything over there.
Did you
No,
did you get
now
it?
you're fine.
Now you're fine.
Okay, sorry. I was opening some stats window, so the computer slowed up. So I think nothing has changed between what we know about Haaland and what we knew about Haaland in Game Week 1. I think people are very quick to jump to conclusions about Salah because Salah has played Newcastle away. He's played Arsenal, the best defense in the league, and he's played Bournemouth. So, am I breaking up or am I okay?
You were breaking up last time also. Should you want to try switching your camera again? Maybe that'll take some load off.
Okay. You guys go ahead.
I'm kind of in the boat in terms of where LR is now. If I was wildcarding today, I'd rather pick Haaland than not pick him, because even when I look at the next fixture, Game Week 4, I think Haaland's ceiling against against Manchester United feels a bit higher even than Salah against Burnley. Because just everything is being funneled towards Haaland right now. With Liverpool, I do think there'll be less dependency on Salah this season.
Also, I think with just how the ecosystem has developed, I think it's fairly, it's not a fast stretch to get both at the moment. It doesn't require a lot of compromises because Palmer and Saka are injured. So it's manageable also. And Isak isn't in play at the moment. So you can quite comfortably get both also.
I think you're
so if I'm back.
Yes, you are.
Yeah, you're back.
Yeah. So what I'm trying to say is we are comparing Haaland, who's had Wolves, Brighton, and a home game against Spurs, with Salah, who's played Bournemouth, who are absolutely on it, even defensively. He's played Arsenal, the best defense in the league, and he's played Newcastle away, which I think is one of the toughest away fixtures in the league. He scored 2 returns. He's the only one getting 90 minutes in those games. He's not had a penalty. And his fixtures, in my view, are better than Haaland's if you ignore Game Week 6 between now and Game Week 12. After Game Week 12, both of their fixtures are fantastic. So if you want to go for both, go for it, because right now Palmer and Saka are injured. But at some point they won't be injured, and they will have, for example, Arsenal and Chelsea have excellent fixtures between Game Week 8 and Game Week 12. So if you go for both structure, it's fine because you can be flexible. You can sell one of them for those 4-5 weeks and get your right guys. And so nothing is a wrong thing. But all I'm trying to say is, to say that Haaland is better than Salah, I mean, I'm not ready to have that conversation. We have had no data points yet. Liverpool have had the toughest games and actually won them. And yet we are talking about picking Man City, where we've been here last year. They've lost 2 of their first 3 games. They could be, I'm saying Haaland is as good a pick as Salah. So let me be clear. I'm not saying one is better or the other. So for you to change your structure or to pick one over the other, I don't think we can do that yet. If you want to go both, I understand it. I still think going both is very dangerous because you have a lot of good picks between 9 to 11 million that can become good at any point, and then that structure becomes fairly weak. So
no, but the point of going both is it allows to get onto the good 9-11 picks easily as well, right? While we know nothing.
You can.
And also you have to keep in mind there are certain options now. Let's say Arsenal, you could get an Eze at 7.5. Now Chelsea's looking at Pedro, could be good value at 7.5. Even Liverpool, maybe Isak at 10.5 could get close to matching Salah. And Man City, absolutely no one else. No one's going to touch Haaland in that team.
This is all true. And maybe in 6 weeks, I agree with you. All I'm saying is right now, what I know is what I knew in Game Week 1. And what I know right now is Haaland still has to play between now and Game Week 12. He has to play Arsenal. He has to play Liverpool, and he has to play Newcastle away. The 3 fixtures, which are, for me, one of the toughest ones in the league. So he still has that. He still has good fixtures. 6, 7, 8 are good. So you choose. Either all three of the strategies are viable. But I refuse to say that having only Salah as a strategy is less viable. I think it's equally viable and nothing has changed from pre-game week 1.
I'm with Pras in terms of people writing off Salah because of the first three performances. Like, I think that is not the right thing to do. He's Mo Salah. He's been FPL royalty for years and will continue being so. While things settle at that team, Salah is going to continue being Salah. Even though he had a rubbish game against Arsenal, like, he was involved. He didn't do well with the ball at his feet and his passing, but that's Mo Salah. It'll change. He'll be fine.
Yet for non Lukaku touches, man, some of them.
Yeah.
Move on to the next slide.
Yes. Great questions, man.
Fantastic.
Great
By the way,
observations,
before you go to the next slide, just for people wondering, so we've referenced it twice now. If you want to join the Discord, the QR code here on the right is how you do that. This is for our Patreon, which is at patreon.com/the FPL Wire. And also you referenced, LR, the video that Zoph did yesterday. That is also a members only video, which Zoph does on Mondays, goes through all the stats for the week. Excellent content. So that's an additional perk that you get in addition to all other things that you get on the Discord and other things. So you can join either on Patreon or as a YouTube member, and that would be much appreciated.
The next one from Ridul, he's mentioning the lack of whipping boys this season with the promoted teams being a lot better. He says captaincy might not be as straightforward. It might be a major discussion every week. And LR, upside chasing might be back big time this season. Your thoughts?
Like I said, whipping boys will appear. There are 3 or 4 that I have my eyes on already. I mean, a team like Burnley gave a team like United that isn't fully functional 3 plus XG non-pen. So there will be whipping boys that appear, and there will be teams like to target is where I am.
But I think there might be a bit of home away bias because like we've seen with Leeds, how they performed at Arsenal versus at Ellen Road, even with Sunderland, might be better at home. Similar with Burnley also, we saw a bit lopsided. Just something we need to monitor. There's not enough of a sample size, in my opinion, to make a judgment yet.
Yeah. And coming to this earlier point, right? Like Liverpool, City, etc., haven't gelled yet. Give them some time together on the pitch and things will be fine.
Anything else here? Move on to the next one.
Yeah.
I'll refer this to you, Pras. Now, Karan is asking, he's not looked at his rank all season. When do we consciously start trying to bet against the template picks, given that it might dictate, say, who we pick on free hit 6?
Nah, it's too early. I don't think you need to be looking at the crowd as such at all. Like, I think you have to just pick your team, look at your players. Second half of the season, you can start to look at this stuff, man. Like right now, pick the players you think will score the most points on free hit 6 or wildcard or whatever. It shouldn't be, oh, everybody has João Pedro, so I want to go against João Pedro. Like this kind of thinking doesn't work too much, and it's not needed so early in the season.
Completely agree. LR, concurrence?
Agree. Fully agree.
Next one. Trust the manager and system. It's been evident that teams like Bournemouth and Palace, who have a system in place with a great manager, continue to perform regardless of incomings and outgoings. So these teams can be invested in. We're going to have to test the hypothesis on Palace a little bit now, given that the injuries they've had. Coming into the pod today, we've got news that Sarr and Wharton are going to be out for a period, and potentially the new guy also they recruited from Villarreal. Forget his name.
Pino.
He is also Pino. He's pulled out of the Spain squad as well. So it's going to be probably the biggest test Glasner has had since he arrived at Palace. But we have to give a shout out to Iraola. I thought Bournemouth would suffer a little bit this season, given that the entire backline has been shipped out, but absolutely demolished Spurs at the weekend. So good. And I'm just very impressed. You look at the defense, it's been tight. You look at the attack, it's absolutely flowing. So I think this point absolutely holds true and something we really can keep in mind going into next season as well.
I think it holds true when contextualized well. Like Bournemouth had an entire preseason to manage without Hudson and whoever they lost, Kirkes, right? And they had the system in place. Getting a full preseason matters. I think now for Palace, losing those 3 players, those names that you mentioned, they don't have a deep squad. It's a huge dip in quality. So big red flag for Palace picks in general.
Russ?
Yeah, I'm in agreement, man. The mid-table teams in the Premier League are quality. like absolute quality. Brentford, maybe there's a fall off. Crystal Palace short term, maybe. Let's see. Or we could be sitting here in 3 weeks and saying, look, same thing with Bournemouth. Glasner just knows how to work his team. He's a systems manager. He's not a players manager. So I think they're all possible. But yeah, this is the reality. This is when we look at fixtures, right? We we say, oh, tough fixtures or easy fixtures. I think this is we still don't know what is an easy fixture or a tough fixture yet. I mean, maybe we know the tough fixtures, we know the top four, we know away Newcastle, we know some of the stuff, but I think in terms of determining what is an easy run, this we will know in 6 weeks if Brentford look poor, and these could be the non-promoted teams as well. But I think Rico has made an excellent point. These system managers, we've got the quality of the managers in the league between 8 to 15 has never been better, never ever.
But how do we
Also, because
distinguish?
of
Go ahead.
just one thing about Palace in specific, because they've lost so many uh, important attackers, we might actually see them sitting deeper and having a much more robust defense first approach as well, which is what they generally do. Also, Palace are a deep defense team who play on the transition, but that might become even more louder now.
The problem is, how will they even play on the transition? Because their primary weapons on that has gone. Wharton was the one making the pass. Sarr was the one making the runs.
Yeah.
That's
They'll play the center forward that played center forward in the last 7 minutes against Aston Villa.
Yep.
Yep, Munoz out of position. We will be there. But yeah, you have to distinguish between the point I was making, but we still have to distinguish between a Bournemouth and Palace to somebody like, let's say, a Brighton and a Wolves. You could also say they're good teams. Well, good teams is maybe a bit of a stretch in Wolves' case, but good managers, I would still say, in place of Hurstler and Pereira. So I think we still have to maybe tier them a little bit. I think Bournemouth and Palace go to a different tier compared to Brighton and Wolves. Do you guys agree?
Yeah.
Brighton, I don't know. Brighton's still good, man.
Still could be. It would be unfair to put them in the same bracket as Wolves as such.
Yeah, no, Wolves are in the bracket with Burnley, in my opinion, as at the moment. Yeah.
I mean, we should give a shout out to Potter this weekend. I thought he was very good against Forest. He just showed like ultimately the good manager. He shuffled his team around, changed system, changed tactics. They were the better team against Forest. The subs made a huge difference again when Somerville came on. Anything else here, guys?
Penalties. There was a little bit of a macro theme, remember? Pre-game week 1?
7
number of
penalties
penalties.
this weekend.
Yeah.
And
What
so
do you
many
guys
of them
think?
for
Is that a
pulling.
thing?
It could be a thing if it generally depends. It depends on the English media and how much they
How
make
far
a
they
big deal.
how make a big deal about it, because it always swings. It goes extreme, then goes to the other extreme.
Yeah, like the added time. Remember, we were playing till 100 minutes every game.
But penalties are important, man. Penalties are just always important and need to be in your decision making. And also, maybe I think with the advent of quality in the top teams, especially, there's more penalty winning players in those teams as well. So maybe penalty takers for those teams matter even more. Like if I was watching United and I was like, every 15 minutes it looked like we could easily get a penalty just because of how Pumo runs into the box or Ahmad runs into the box. We've got these kind of players in general as well. So maybe take that into account too.
Next one, this is about Salah, and I guess we sort of kind of touched about it. So Salah might be out of our teams earlier than we expect. Solskjaer might go with Isak, etc. I think we sort of covered this already.
Yeah.
I mean, this is going to be a dilemma for people on Wildcard, and we'll go through the drafts. But you want to have the opinion that, oh, I want to go Haaland instead of Salah, but Salah has Burnley and Everton as the next two. It's a real dilemma actually if you're wildcarding this week on what to do.
Form and ability and not ability, form and like him being in a bad phase with bad touch aside, he's the only one that plays 90 minutes in the most attacking team in the league and is on pens. Like just by virtue of being present, it should play on your mind.
The next one from Rico. Still early doors. There's a lot of volatility in team performance due to integration of new signings, and currently there are no real must-have standout picks appearing in either midfield and attack. I guess we'll tackle this when we come to our wildcard section. There are certain good picks and there are great picks, but in terms of must-have standout picks, Pras, does anything stand out so far?
No. In fact, if you push, I know what LR is smiling about, and I won't say it here. Don't worry. I will get all comments on Bruno Fernandes, so I won't say it. Don't worry. In terms of must-have, I don't think there's a single pick that is a must-have. Like I'm trying to think. Is there a single goalkeeper that is a must-have? No. Is there a single defender? No, not Poro, not Munoz. No, I don't think you need to have any of them. In terms of midfielders, there is definitely no midfielder that you must have, and strikers as well. Like, okay, you can argue João Pedro is doing
João
really, really
Pedro's
well, but you
getting there,
can.
Pras. I think he could potentially get there. I
But
mean,
what I'm
if
saying
he
is,
took the
it's not a
penalty,
must-have.
if he took the penalty this weekend, I would challenge that thought for sure.
Yeah, sure.
But he doesn't.
But Ella, that being said, I do think it could have been a charity penalty because there's this whole thing that was going on with Enzo at halftime. He was having an argument with the crowd. He went and handed off the armband to one of the Chelsea coaches. So there's something happening with Enzo also over there. But Enzo has taken a penalty in the past. There's a small chance of it being a charity pen, but I think base case, we do have to assume it is Enzo on there.
And then Palmer, if he's back, right?
Yes, and that's the whole thing. The way the discussion is immaterial because Palmer's just back soon.
So, but you guys agree, right? There is no pick. Like, you can pick. I see people sharing, oh, this is my wildcard team. That team is basically picking all the players that have scored points in the first 3 weeks. But that's not how FPL works. Like, last week I saw people captaining Kudus and he did nothing. So, do we know? I'm not saying he's a bad pick, but if you're basing your decision on this guy has scored 2 goals so far, that's not the way you should FPL. Like, we should have a forward-looking view on who you're expecting to do well. And right now, there's a lot of error bars or margin of error is too high on saying anybody is a absolute must pick, except Bruno Fernandes.
I want to explain the early comment I made about the whole "I love you, Baba Bruno" for the guys who don't follow it. I'm sure a Bollywood audience will. So it relates back to a Bollywood movie in which a guy is stalking a lady. Her name is Kiran. So every time he calls her, he goes like, "I love you, Kiran." So that was a reference.
Oh, I thought you were referring to that Balma thing.
No, it was a dull
There is
reference.
another Bollywood movie.
It's a dull reference. Come on. You had to get that. LR got it.
Yeah.
Yeah. The last one from Rico, and I think is a good summary. There's been a significant amount of variance due to luck with injuries and bad VAR calls. Cuff Bob Sanchez. Cuff. None of us have Bob, man. Bob's gone a bit lucky.
Yeah. But
even the Palace game, the Eze one, right? So all 3 games there was. I mean, Eze one was probably correct, the first one.
Exactly.
But this one definitely wasn't.
Yeah. Also, the injuries thing, I'll say that you'd much rather have these injuries before using your wildcard than after. And maybe in a place like, imagine you wildcarded in game week 8 or 9, and then you have 3 injuries in game week 11. That's in a much worse position to be than now. So, while we have all our chips unconsumed, it's a better place to have these bad luck situations with injuries.
Also, I have a message for Rico. You haven't seen anything yet. The chips are still to come. Right? Yeah. So wait till somebody free hits in game week 6 and his original team outscores the free hit team. When somebody else free hits, his free hit team outscores by 50 points. This is all number of chips. It's all got to do with increasing variance in the game, rightly or wrongly. But I mean, all you have to do is learn to just move on, right? I mean, this is it. That's the game we're playing now.
That's the game we're playing. And shout out to Eno from our Discord. He played his free hit this week. And again, massively outscored by his original team. It happens, man. That's the game we play.
There you go.
Yeah. Voice got 65 on his free hit. His original team, 62.
There you go.
Yeah.
It's single game week free hits are going to be like this. And there will be one free hit that is coming in the next few weeks. It could be any week where the popular players will blank and the people on free hit are a bit like game week 34 free hit last year. Like you get 100 points on free hit and this, you can't do anything about it.
Move on to the team by team discussion.
Yeah. Do we want to cover all teams or just some that we might
I think let's just do all of them. We don't have to spend as much time on all of them. I do think it's worth commenting. We can even just go like, let's say a Brighton irrelevant and move on.
Yeah.
Something like that. So let's start alphabetically and let's go with Arsenal. So I'll go first. I think Arsenal, like I mentioned the point earlier, the defenders are less valuable this season to being the best defense due to lack of DEFCON. Early hypothesis. For you guys, anything to add?
Their shape in the first few weeks might not be similar to the shape that they use in the easier fixtures now. And I want to see how they function in the easier functions now. Until then, the jury's out.
Gabriel's about to score a header and everybody will want Gabriel.
Love it.
Fair enough. Villa, the defense I think is a hard avoid now. Harvey Elliott at 5.5 might become the standout option. And I think not much needs to be said about their attack right now. It's all pretty much the proof is in the pudding.
That said, only Haaland has more shots than Watkins. Be patient.
Oh, 100% be patient, man. I mean,
Yeah.
unless there is some desperate situation that you need to fund Watkins down to somebody and then you need to use the funds to fix another injured player. Like I can see Watkins, Sar, if you want to, who will you take Sar up to anyway? But I can understand if somebody wants to do that. I can also understand if somebody wants to go to a Haaland structure and take Watkins up. I can understand it, but other than that, there's no reason to move him, man. Like just stay patient. He had that one-on-one in this game as well. These are just fine margins. It's the returns will come. Like you don't need to panic.
Especially because people might see Everton as a tough fixture. They said to Park. They're getting a little sexy now. So even that fixture is good for a Villa.
The numbers are actually
if
quite
they-
poor. We'll get to the defense stats. Everton's
19th,
defensive numbers are not
19th in
good.
the league on XG conceded.
Yeah.
Now, Brentford, DEFCON monsters, I don't think they'll create enough XG for their attackers. I just think they have poor FPL options. And the CS, even though they're getting DEFCON, will still be limited, right? For their defenders.
Which one was this? Brentford.
Brentford.
No views. I'm not touching their players.
Pretty much that.
No good fixtures. No good fixtures for a while. Avoid. Happy to captain against.
Agreed. Which is pretty much similar for Brighton as well. Avoid for FPL is a good opponent to play or attackers, especially when Brighton are away.
I had a point on Brighton. Minte might be hitting his stride into Mane, and he looks a little undroppable in that team. So watch out for him as an explosive differential.
With DEFCON potential as well.
Yeah.
That could also be a bit of the game specific, right? Because it was Man City.
But he's
could be, but
he's
a bit like Otara as well, right? They work very hard and they're quick off the counter. So
Grealish was on 11 DEFCON this week, and I'd love to see that, man.
Everton player on 11 DEFCON, that's not surprising.
Yeah, but it's Jack.
Like Minte could have been on 2 or 3 goals by now, and everybody would be raging about him. It's just that he's not had the returns for his performance. So watch out for that.
Bournemouth, DEFCON beasts in defense, consistently high XG numbers. I think Senesi and Semenyo are absolutely top FPL picks this. Good FPL team.
Yeah. Petrovic, Senesi, Evanelson, Semenyo, take your pick. Good pick, good fixtures, settled. They fall into the bracket of us knowing what we're buying into at the moment while there is noise around.
Yeah, good summary. Nothing, I mean, for me, things could have changed, but not much has changed, even though they've lost players. Only thing I'll say in attack, wait for Kluivert. If he makes it back into the team, which I think he will, just wait for him and see how the dynamics change, if at all.
Burnley, I think Ekdal looks like the DEFCON guy there over Esteve. I think he's been racking up much better numbers. Anthony is potentially the only attacker of interest, but at that price now at 5.5, you're getting options in proper more established teams. So not really an FPL destination again.
For those people on defenders, better in Leeds and Sunderland.
Agree.
But those who have made their beds with Esteve and Dubravka, think of Gameweek 5 as a bench boost window. Think of Gameweek 8 as a bench boost window, and I think 10 or 11, because I am still of a very, very strong opinion that you should try to get your bench boost out of the way. Don't leave it till Christmas.
Completely agree. Chelsea, Pedro could be the best forward option in the game. Tosin at 4.5 looks good value. Palmer at 10.5 may struggle to justify his price over Pedro.
I disagree on Palmer, firstly.
Okay, remains to be seen, right?
Yeah, just stating as a comment on that, I'm Palmer's love. I love him too much. Avoid the 4.5 or 5.0 Chelsea defenders trap. Europe is coming.
I don't know, the thing he mentioned about Tosin also earlier, he needs him to play those line-breaking passes. He doesn't have alternatives. And again, they're not going to sub on. I think at 4.5 now, I would be more inclined to take that punt than not on Wildcard.
I just feel like go Sanchez or Cuckoo. Otherwise, the centre-backs are a trap. Like, he keeps talking up Fofana. He just isn't as fit at the moment. And with Europe, I don't know how he's going to. And he's somebody who worries about these minutes, etc. as well. So I wouldn't go there.
He might even throw in Jorgensen. I wouldn't be surprised if you see randomly Jorgensen start 3 or 4 league games.
Yeah. Just like with the likes of, just a small comment, Liverpool, Chelsea, etc., where Europe is coming, you have to just go for the nail, guys. You can't go for these sort of fringe squad picks because you will get caught out.
Pras, your thoughts on Chelsea?
I am with LR. Palmer is the one. Game week 9, I have made all plans converge towards how can I get Palmer back, even if it means selling Salah for 2-3 weeks. He'll be back because he's a captaincy shout. I'm still not comfortable, and I'm not going to go on a João Pedro rant because clearly he's amazing. But I'm still not going to captain João Pedro. If it is a Chelsea fixture home to Sunderland, I'll be captaining Palmer, and that's where I am as of information right now. We could be sitting here in 4 weeks and Palmer is still carrying something and getting subbed off, and then the discussion changes. But as it stands, we've got 2 years of data on Palmer, and I'm not buying this whole January he scored XYZ. Easy fixture, I'm still backing Palmer.
Palace, FPL options everywhere and they're very tight away from home. Just avoid as a captaincy opponent.
And
Yes.
if might be a miss now on wildcards if the injuries for Wharton and Sarah long term. So like see, but get a Palace defender in there for sure. Top 6 defense in the league.
And I think all the three guys offer value, right? I don't think you can say any of them are bad picks. Richard, Lacroix, Munoz, they all have justification for their prices.
Agreed.
I think their price per million will be bang on, all three. So it really depends on your team structure, who you want to get.
Yeah. If all their players were fit, I would say triple up on Palace. But just because of the injuries, I'm against that statement.
I'd agree. Everton,
Yeah.
DEFCON monsters, great cheapy options in attack, good team for FPL this year.
Attacks gone up, defense has gone down in my eyes.
Even with them starting at a floor of 4 every week, Darko's racked up DEFCON in all his games.
Yeah, but there are other defenders who are offering DEFCON similar potential as well. So, that's where I am. 5.5 Taco versus a 4.5 Richards, I'd pick 4.5 Richards.
Same for Anderson. Like, that's not a million I want to spend for Everton clean sheets.
Yeah. Where are we? But we should have a conversation. This is a very legit point because people are in the market for midfielders. Dewsbury Hall, Jack, and I. Something that should be discussed, in my opinion, in general. Where are you guys on those 3 picks?
I had a look at some of the stats. I think Dewsbury Hall isn't getting as many penalty box touches as I'd like. And the thing with Endai is he's still getting those early substitutions. And you look at all the games he's scored, he's not been close to bonus in any of them. So I think in terms of tiering, I think Jack is stand out the top pick over there. Then maybe Dewsbury Hall, then Endai.
What's up with this DEFCON, man? What's up? That's just not Jack Grealish, man. Like, what is up there?
He's enjoying himself, man. Did you see the post he made on Instagram and then he deleted it? Feels so good to play 3 games in a row.
Yeah. I mean, wait for 1-2 weeks, but do we have our Aston Villa Jack back?
I just think he's such a good player, man.
Yeah.
And
surrounded by good players also. It's worth saying.
And also, I think it's sort of like, it's maybe a bit unfair to label this to Jack. I think he thrives being the center of attraction. He thrives being a main man in a team that's sort of like, a mid-table, like an Aston Villa. Everton is absolutely the right fit for him. Because you put him in like Man City and Liverpool, he's good, but he's not absolutely the main man.
No, I think he would be very different in a Man City compared to a Liverpool also, because Man City, the flair players, the little bit of the flair gets taken out of their gameplay. It isn't exactly the same case in Liverpool, where they're encouraged to still beat their players, etc. Yes. It's not as that's just a small cog on that. But watch out for Jack, man, if he's there, because it's not that he's just creating; he's shooting a little as well. So
2 shots in the box last game.
Watch the space. I still think Enda is very interesting, man. He's sort of like the striker because Jack and Dewsbury Hall are doing all the ball progression and the ball carrying. Enda's role is to be in the center of the box to put the ball at the back of the net as well. And on pen, Enda is on pens, right?
Yeah,
I think so.
Yeah. So then Enda is also right up there. Would be in my consideration.
All good picks.
Yeah.
And it's just so different to see an Everton team. Go ahead, Pras.
No, I'm just saying David Moyes is still a comma
That's
question mark.
I was making.
Is David Moyes sleeping well at night knowing that his team is bottom 2 in defense but also a free flowing attack, or is he or is it a conscious effort to change? I want to see that for another couple of games.
Yeah. But the vibes I'm getting from Moyes are like he's like, because he's been there, done that, right?
Been there, done that. This is a new stadium also, right? The whole thing, you have to lift fans up their seats in the new stadium also. That also plays into it.
That's got a lot to do with it.
Yeah. Like Moyes is like, okay, this year we'll hit some.
Move on to Fulham. I think FPL options here are limited. You go for Anderson for DEFCON, maybe Muniz for a 5.5 cheap attacker, but Jimenez will randomly start. But again,
Jimenez is there.
good defense in general.
ESR exists, but Josh King could be the best 4.5 million pick in the game.
Yes,
I mean, the only.
Yeah.
pretty much.
Like, he was probably Fulham's best player against Chelsea.
No doubt.
So like this, if he continues the performance for maybe 2 or 3 weeks more, Silva is not somebody who gives up on his players, and he talks him up in the interviews as well. So watch that one.
I feel for the lad, man. He deserved that goal.
Yeah.
Moving on to Leeds. I mean, it's not going to be an easy fixture for any team at Ellen Road, but I think in terms of FPL options, except defense, there's no one there.
Agree. But
Yeah.
best 4.0 defenders in the game. Like, I'm happy we went there. This reliable. Like, I was talking to our friend Jazzy. He's like, Sunderland might keep clean sheet at home because the quality of the defenders they bought. Leeds against middling to poor opposition might keep clean sheets because they just have that much of the ball, because they have the ability to hold that much possession at home. So reliable that case.
Strong press. Yeah, all good stuff. They're doing all the right things. But they've had a very disappointing transfer window. Like, I was talking to a lot of the fans yesterday. They were hoping to get Wilson off the over the line. That didn't happen. So attack question mark still. And would that then, would the energy levels go down with the same players playing? I think they are the best 4.0 defenders in the game. If you were to start today, if you want to have a wild card, I have their place. So I think if you've done that, which Zoph, you even played him, great call. Burnley, TBD, and Sunderland, we don't know.
Move on to Liverpool, and we sort of covered this. I've just mentioned that the defenses might be a bit shaky. Sobo right back needs to be monitored and the impact on Salah, but I think we covered more or less Liverpool in our previous one.
Yep.
Man
Words.
City.
Let's just talk about words a
Yeah.
bit specifically because
Sure.
people have
Yes.
him.
Sure.
LR, go for it.
I was convincing Jazzy to get him on his wild card. I think people would be foolish to ignore him, buy him while the stock is low. I thought he was good against Arsenal. Like, I think in the game where there is less chaos, like, he had 2 moments of quality. There's this one shot that he took, which was the offside goal that Ekitike scored. And then there was a cross when Liverpool actually did get behind Arsenal's defense, and Raya just about caught it. Wirtz was in the center of the box waiting for the header. Just think that people are not used to him at the moment. They're not finding his runs. He's making some really good runs. And I can't help my feeling that, like, if Salah didn't have pens, right, I would be comfortable I want to say an obscure statement because that's what I feel. I would be comfortable captaining him. I feel that good about him, where Liverpool will have a lot of possession against a team like Burnley. So that's how I feel about Wirtz. I genuinely think he's quality. I just think his teammates are not finding him.
I still have slight medium-term concerns. So in all my paths, by game week 6 or game week 7, I am looking to ship him out eventually. Definitely not in the next 2 games, but I may change my view, right? I mean, if they start to find a way, like we are all saying, right? They're gelling, right? They're not fully maximizing the Avengers that they've all bought. So we'll see. But I'm a little bit, and I'll tell you why, because Szoboszlai looks incredible. Once Frimpong is back fit, is it like a given now that Szoboszlai is always going to start on the right? No. Frimpong will play. Szoboszlai, if he plays, then is it always going to be that one of McAllister and Gravenberch are going to miss out? No. So I'm just thinking if Wirtz is not going to, so far he's getting good minutes, 80 plus minutes, I think. So as long as that continues, it's fine. But I'm starting to have some concerns, and this has always got to do with form. Form gets minutes. If he scores a brace against Burnley, we're good to go.
Like, form's also not visible, right? Like, Slot is not seeing who scored the goal and the assist, right? Like, Scott is seeing what is making his team function, etc. as well,
Fair
right?
enough. Fair enough.
Yeah. And one other thing as well, like in terms of just minutes forwards, if Konate is injured and if he doesn't want to play Gomez there is a world in which he plays Gravenberch as the center back, and then McAllister and Szoboszlai move into midfield as well.
Move on to Man City.
Yeah, sure.
I just mentioned they're the more Haaland team than ever before, and defensively they're still a bit shaky.
Yes. And we might think that Ed Nouri is secure when the good fixtures come, but Europe is coming.
It's also a very tactical setup, right? This one,
Yeah.
Luke mentioned for the game week 1 against Wolves, it could have very easily been Guardiola.
Yep.
And Cherki is out. Foden was not in the squad. So I think Mamouche, little stocks go up. Not that anybody is buying, but I mean, you could buy if you were looking to avoid the free hit in game week 6. and you wanted a second attacker for Burnley, maybe not a bad shot.
But it didn't work, right? So like he could immediately just go one of Doku or Savio and Bob in the next game because it didn't work as
I
Mamush
mean, to be
playing well.
honest, personally, I think around Europe, Man City picks are a no-go. Haaland is
Yeah,
the only one. That's the short answer.
And
agree.
Reinders.
I mean,
And
Reinders is
Reinders.
also good, but you know my skepticism around Europe. I mean, Gundo they've sold now, so
Hmm.
his
Yeah.
minutes have improved further. But yeah, I think okay. Let's say apart from these two, I don't see any other pick right now.
Agree. Man United defense is an avoid, attack is very investable this season.
Yep. I think all three of the mids are picks. Pumo, and Cunha. I think all three of them will offer decent points potential. Uh, Bruno looks like a great captaincy option in the games in which United will keep possession. Because he's going to get DEFCON. Baker made a great point in on his pod as well, and he'll be around the chance creation etc. as well. Bumo actually is my favorite pick for the next two games because he is our outlet on the counter, and Amarin keeps talking about that as well. Euro at 4.5 has actually not been doing that bad for DEFCON as well, but our defense is not settled right now.
Newcastle, very tough UCL group. I think they did a ranking for fixture difficulty. Opta analyst does it. They have the third toughest draw, the UCL. So I think how we may have to utilize the squad and rotate a little bit more. And he has options now. Ilanga, Gordon, Barnes, Murphy. So I think FPL wise, it becomes a little bit trickier.
No go. They're at the bottom of the ticker until game week 12 anyway. Why would you go there? Like, okay, short term, 2 weeks, you could have included Leeds in there, which is why a lot of people went with Ilanga and others, which didn't work out. I don't think now you touch them.
Anything to add?
No.
Forest, I think they look like a team struggling with their identity a little bit. They want to become a more attacking side, and as a result, maybe their defense is struggling a little bit.
Agree. But their defenders will hit DEFCON in the next game. Because they will resort to identity. Yeah, they will resort to their identity because that's how they can play against a team like
Arsenal.
Arsenal.
You mentioned this right at the start. I think one of the earlier pods we did in preseason that these are winnable fixtures. But no, that is a problem. Now that you've achieved that sort of established Premier League status, you can't be getting draws against a West Ham at home, against a Sunderland or a Burnley. You have to go for the win, which naturally has impacted their defense.
Yep. Effect of Europe is also not seen as yet. One other point, Wood is not getting more than 75 minutes. So it's important to clock, changes his value as an asset. And Europe is yet not started.
Yeah, I'm actually a lot more bearish on Forest once Europe starts. They're not a team accustomed to playing mid. Like look what's happening to Palace. Like okay, Palace are doing very well. I'm not using performances as a gauge, but injuries start to come up, and then the team's dynamics change a little bit if your key player gets injured. And I don't think Forest are built in the same way that a Glasner team is a system-based team. Forest is a lot of individuals who do a lot of the work. Anderson is so important. Murillo and Milenkovic are so important. The two out wingers that give them the space and the runs that they make. I just think it's not. I'm not, and their fixtures are actually not great after game week 6 anyway.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm bearish as well on Forest. I'm not saying buy. I'm saying Wood is not getting 75 minutes also anymore. So I don't think he's a price to buy at the moment. If people have him, play him for Burnley, Sunderland, but get rid after is where I am at the moment. How long do you think he lasts? Like the squad?
Did you have to put
the Wood?
No.
That wasn't a test.
I was talking about Nuno. I mean, people feel free to mention their records in the comments.
Unsubscribe or whatever.
Thank God Harder didn't join, man. Oh my God.
Yeah. But this looks like a De Zerbi squad managed by Nuno Espirito Santo. Like that's how it feels, the makeup of the squad. Like it's got all these sexy players, but Nuno is managing them. And then Nuno wants to change, but he's much better doing the thing he does, which he will do it against Arsenal. So it's a little, like you said, identity crisis.
Did this happen at West Ham? West Ham let go of Moyes because they wanted more attacking flair and whatever. And look,
Lopetegui, right?
Yeah.
Sunderland, very low XG despite easy fixtures. They wait and watch. They might not be an easy fixture at home. That's all I got.
Surprised to see that they're fourth best in the league for XGC. Easy fixtures, but still, it's not worth writing off that they're fourth best in the league for XGC so far.
best fixtures also. No, like they were
Absolutely.
top
Yeah.
of the ticker.
But like you would say Sunderland maybe would be mid-table for XGC.
Mid-table, yeah. I hear
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
I still think they'll be whipping boys going down
Yeah.
the road because once
I
they'll
hear
get
you.
3-4 losses, they have so
Yeah.
many new signings. It'll be in flux, right? Do you play this guy or this other guy that you bought, or do you trust the old guys that you had from the championship? And suddenly team dynamics change. It's obviously I'm sorry, Sunderland fans. Like this is just a crystal ball view. I could be very wrong about it, but I just think 2-3 losses in a row, and that team will start to become like one you can target.
Also, people who think Luffy is on pens, he's not on pens. There was a quote that came that DRI is probably going to take the next pen as well. So don't buy into that either.
Moving on to Tottenham. Defensively, we'll be more solid, but in terms of attack, we need to identify a talisman. We don't have one yet.
Also, Poro might not be worth 5.5 million. Might be worth downgrading if you're on wildcard to 4.5 million or 5 million
Yeah.
Spurs defender.
I wouldn't pick Porto on wildcard now.
Yeah. Especially because Xavi Simons might not take set pieces from the other side as well. And a lot of the crossing responsibility from the right hand side is on Kudus. So Poro doesn't cross that much even.
Spot on. Russ, anything to add? Move on to West Ham.
No, but it's a Thomas Frank team, so I'm very interested to see how it develops.
Yeah, and the quality has gone up. Like the player quality has gone up massively.
West Ham, I think Pac-10, that's what we are calling him in the Discord. Pac-10 could be the gem now, minutes, pens, and DEFCON. And I think the wing-back system is dead now. I think he's going to stick with the four. And Matheus Fernandes was a good signing. The midfield needed that.
Yeah. 5.9 million Bruno Fernandes light.
Agree, Pras?
Yeah, fair.
Yeah.
Fair. I mean, it's a good pick. We're all saying it's a good pick. So yeah, agree.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
I was very close to going there, man. Like between Anderson and Paqueta, like it was
But we
close. So
didn't
I'm
know,
not going to
Pras. You
say.
can't go pre-transfer deadline.
No,
It's
but
only-
he was always on penalties. We knew he's on
right,
penalties.
but we think
he was going
moving.
to Aston Villa, very likely.
That came up after the deadline. So
after,
the whole
after
Aston
Gameweek
Villa
3
thing was.
deadline.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah.
that's what I mean.
But
So
in general,
before
he's
Gameweek
been
3
linked with a
deadline-
move all window. That's why he's never been on my
Yeah.
radar for that reason. But like today, you'd pick him over Tielemans any day.
Of course.
Yeah. Also, best celebration in the first 3 weeks by a distance.
By
Loved
far.
it. Absolutely loved it. So good, man. Yeah.
In Wolves, the last one. Avoid defensively and even
West Ham,
Go ahead.
do you have quality to be noted, man?
Yeah, man.
Like
Top
that was
player.
a good cross. Yeah.
Top player. Wolves, I think you avoid defensively and even attack. GSL will be the talisman, but I'm a little bit worried about how many chances they will create. And they've also bought, I think, another very good forward. I forgot his name.
Yeah. Just stay away except for Stan Larsen at the moment. But also worth noting, our friend FPL Sweet tweeted that Stan Larsen's injury could also be much more long term than we must have thought otherwise. So keep an eye out there.
You remember game week 1, right? When he was mummified with all the tape all over his body in different parts. So potentially something related to that again. You'll talk about the JSL dilemma, Pras, when we get to your team a bit later on.
Yeah, it's a bit immediate, so we'll discuss it.
Yep. That's a rounded up of all the teams. Anything else to add before we move on to the wildcard discussion?
Yes, our first, can you move to the show them the team so that people who are jumping onto that section, I can start with the plug for the like and subscribe.
We have to do the club first.
Yeah.
Pras?
Shall we do the club?
Yes, let's
Yeah.
do that before.
Okay, so I've talked about this in the past. There's an app called Club, and you can download the app with the QR code here, which includes we would get the affiliate credit, nothing monetary, but what it means is that you can download the game and it's a completely free to play game. This is my team that I've shown here. What you do is every 4 or 6 hours, there's an agent that comes and offers some players and you can reject it, you can sign them. And every week you try to build your squad, right? So for example, last week I had signed Saka, or the week before I had signed Saka in anticipation of his good fixture against Leeds, but it didn't work out. He got injured. Saliba the same. I had him for that fixture, but these guys are sitting here. They all have a budget. So it's not like you can just buy anyone. So you have to consider things like I am thinking of now selling Saka and getting somebody else. So it's a dynamic team. Every 6 hours you're offered a player and you have to decide how it works. You can also loan players. So for example, I've loaned Wirtz. You can see that little blue bar under there because I think he'll do well against Burnley. So it's stuff like this. It's just a game where you're making predictions. There's no money involved. You don't buy them. It's offered for free. The app is free. If you want to get involved, we are supporting them this year. They're supporting us. And if you want to get involved, check out the QR code and we'll also add the link in the description.
Does your wife know you're spending so much time with Bruno? Plus, he is everywhere.
You don't need to spend any time with Bruno. You put him in your team and he gets you points. It's the people who don't have Bruno have to think, oh, I should get this player. Oh no, he's injured, then I have to get this player. You get Bruno, leave Bruno, wildcard, and then it's done.
Yeah. We always have to talk about Bruno.
Yeah.
Cool guy. That.
Bruno's a monster in this game, by the way, just FYI, because it gives you points for tackles, for interceptions, and like best pick in the game in both Premier League and club.
Before the wildcard section, LR give us a plug.
Yeah, I mean, we've got 1,100 people watching us. And to be fair, everybody is very generous, been very generous with their likes and subscribes throughout preseason as well. I mean, we were astounded by the numbers we hit last month as well. We'd like to just keep the momentum going. We really, really want to hit 41,000 subscribers by the time Game Week 4 comes into play. So we'd appreciate that and keep the high view to like ratio up. So if you could just take a second to hit the like button as well, we'd appreciate it.
Before we discuss the actual wildcard picks, let's have a discussion on whether we should wildcard. And I just want to give my thoughts on that first, right? Generally, I think as human beings, when we are faced with adversity or disappointment, we generally want to take action, right? And a lot of us have had a poor game week or a poor season so far. So, like, by playing the wildcard, I think we are taking immediate proactive steps to rectify the problems, how we are programmed to cope generally as humans. And I don't think that the response that is too early to wildcard because we don't enough is a blank encompassing statement that's really fair, right? I think there's no guarantee that you can tell me over the next 4 weeks that this team doesn't outscore your existing team massively. We don't know. In the bell curve of probabilities, anything can happen. So while I do advocate holding this chip for later, I think it's always worthwhile exercise to benchmark. How far are you away from this team? And this is something we always talked about, Ella, right? You look at how far you are and how you can get there. And in general, it's always worth having this in mind. So I don't think there's a bad time necessarily to play it. And I think there is a way you can structure it now to even future proof and gives you flexibility. And I think that's what we've tried to achieve over here, right, Pras?
Yeah, I think so. And you have to add one more layer to this where you have to think about we have been given 3 more chips this year. So every draft will look different depending on when you're looking to do certain things. You can be flexible as well, so you don't have to fix it. Certain people play differently. But we're already 3 weeks in. You should have some kind of a view. So if you're looking at your bench fodder, you have to start thinking about, okay, when does that bench fodder have a good fixture that could be a potential bench boost week? So then if you're in a 50-50 decision between 2 picks in midfield, think about the one that has a better fixture that week. Stuff like that also has to come into it, which was not something we were doing last year.
I'll just read out some of the picks over here, guys, and then we can discuss them. But actually, before the picks, Ella, let's talk about the wildcard thing a little bit, right? What sort of team do you think necessitates needing a wildcard? And you're somebody who's got, let's say, 2 injuries in your team right now. So you could come out and say that. Now, keep in mind, previous season, we would have said you have maybe 1 or 2 free transfers. Just use those free transfers because you can't carry them. But now you can play a wildcard and still have those transfers available right after. So what sort of situation do you think is worth using the wildcard right now?
I think maybe 3 or 4 injuries would mean you play a wildcard. But just know that if you pick the right 4.0 defender, like if you have a Leeds defender, if you have a Forest defender who are still playable, I'm of the opinion that just for 1 or 2 weeks, hold off. I think like if you're in an emergency situation, then Game Week 6 is a nice opportunity as an entry point buy-in because you're not far away from the Arsenal fixture swing and you can jump on Haaland immediately, and that's just a good base to set yourself on a Game Week 6 wildcard. And I think the information that you gain from Game Week 4 to Game Week 6 in terms of incremental value for what you're going to learn is going to be a lot higher now that the transfer window is behind us, and we'll get at least a week of Europe for the Champions League teams as well as the Europa League team. So I just think that in itself is worth its value for maybe having or taking a week or 2 on the chin. That's where I am.
I also think the reason people are looking to wildcard is I think maybe they're fed up with Forest defense, they're fed up with Villa attack, they've lost faith in maybe Wirtz as a FPL pick. Maybe they want Haaland and they think that the other picks can't match Haaland. But you look at some of the other guys, I think Forest still have a few decent fixtures coming. Villa, we expect their attack to get a bit better. They're also playing Burnley and Sunderland quite soon. Wirtz, you've seen out potentially one of the 3 toughest fixtures that he's had, have Burnley and Everton coming. Maybe that's why I think they should be a little bit more patient if these are the 3 reasons you're pulling your wildcard.
Yeah. And also, I think like what has happened in our case is that we picked these players, but I think that slight difference might be, so you got a fairly robust defense in terms of Palace picks, lead picks, etc. So there is a larger insurance cover. There are people who are absolutely screwed on that front as well. So in that case, don't worry, wildcard. Play the way you want to as well. We're just trying to give you all reasons on both sides.
Anything to add before we discuss the picks?
I mean, just know the manager you are, right? I mean, if you're one of those managers that looks at their team and wants to take a -8 this week, and then next week again you don't like your team, you're going to take another -4 because you want to catch up with the other people, throwing away 12, 14, 12, 16 points to the field because you want to delay a wildcard, don't. Then just play it. If you're of the patient kind that say, you know what, a couple of price drops is not the end of the world, the best differential in my view next week is Wirtz home to Burn. Is it home away to Burnley?
Away to Burnley.
I think if you want a midfielder with the highest ceiling in Game Week 5 and Game Week 7 is probably Watkins. Like, I know it sounds strange right now because he's blanked in 3 weeks, but go back to Game Week 1 and think about what Watkins was doing in preseason, and everybody was saying he needs to be in. There were threads on Watkins has outscored Haaland in the last 2 seasons in total FPL points, and now we're wildcarding because we don't want Watkins when he's playing Sunderland and Burnley. So just have a think around that on what are the reasons, and you guys have summarized the reasons. So if that checklist is tick, play a wildcard.
Yeah. Like the biggest reason always for me when pulling the wildcard is the question I ask myself, do I know enough? Do I have enough conviction in 12 or 13 picks that I'm going to make? At the moment, my answer is no. I want to see how Isak and Salah plays out. I think that's just a crucial player. Like, can you build a wildcard without Salah if Isak is hogging the goal share? What's happening with Liverpool there? Like this, I want to learn stuff like that, which might have a bigger impact on our squad selection. So that's where I am.
Speaking of which, I actually wanted to share the stats before we do the picks, but I'll do it after so we can explain some of the reasoning behind some of these guys. Shall we get down to it?
Yep.
Also, just for the wildcarders as well, we are showing you 2 wildcard drafts today. On Thursday, I'm also doing a video with Walsh from FML FPL, who is on wildcard as well. So that entire video will be built around wildcard discussion as well. So there's enough content for you coming your way as well.
And we got a lot of comments asking about the free hit 4. We know that a lot of you guys are on that. We will be dedicating time for that at the next spot, which we expect to do next Wednesday.
Exactly, because right now things will change, right? If you guys are on free hit, you can adapt to any injuries over the international break. So it's better to talk about that after the international break is over. But I think free hit, this is a great free hit week as well. People who are low on Liverpool picks and want to attack that fixture, maybe even a Haaland setup instead of a Salah setup, free hit 4 works really well for certain structures.
Okay, so yeah, the wildcard thing we wanted to get today primarily because of the prices. If you want to pull your wildcard, you should ideally do it today or tomorrow to get the most sort of rises. And anyway, now let's get to the actual picks. This is the free hit 6 draft. It doesn't include any Man City players or Haaland typically in this one. It's got Dubravka and Raya in goal. Prepares for the Arsenal fixture swing that's coming. Munoz, the most expensive defender at 5.5. Anderson, Rodon, Tosin, Senesi. DEFCON guys all at 4.5. I had Saad in there ahead of Grealish, but with the news, I've taken Saad out now, put Jack in there. Salah, Paqueta, who could be Reinders if you need money. I haven't lost faith in TJ yet. Bruno, Semenyo, Gyökeres, Pedro, and Mateta. This is basically an analytics boner draft, Pras.
Is it? I've not checked because Grealish is not on pens, Semenyo is not on pens, João Pedro is not on pens. Are you sure?
I just look at the other guys. You look at Paqueta, is Salah, Gyökeres. I think Semenyo is actually pretty high on there. Paqueta is also there too.
Yeah. Paqueta is on pens.
Because I had Saad in there. When I ran it through there, I had Saad instead of Grealish. So that really helped because Saad is very good again on analytics.
Right. Look, I think it's a solid team, and I like the fact that it's 8 good attackers. So if the rotation works well, like what you don't want to have is sometimes we're talking about picks, but you have to think about rotation. If there are certain weeks where Grealish and Semenyo both have great games together, but have bad games also together, then don't pick these two. Pick another combination. That's the way to think about it. But as far as the picks itself go, yeah, I think these are the 3 strikers that are in demand, that are great, that are not called Haaland or Isak yet. So it ticks those boxes. I think it's a good entry point for Arsenal. So people looking at wildcard this week, your edge is Arsenal because this is also a free hit 6 draft. So you're basically only getting the Man City home game, which is the tough game. Apart from that, it's a beautiful run. Now, Man City home is not the worst. They actually gave them a pasting last year at home. So I think it's a good time to double or triple up on on Arsenal if you're on free hit.
LR, your thoughts?
6.
Just quickly say, without giving too much thought into wildcard, what I would do differently. I'd go Munoz down to a 4.5 million defender, like Richards. I wouldn't spend the 5.5 given the injuries at Palace now. I would go Gabriel instead of Raya and then throw in a Petrovic or Sanchez, for example. I think Tosin's a trap. I would double up on Liverpool attack given their fixtures in the next two, and I would throw Haaland in there.
Okay, let's talk about the Haaland draft.
Yeah.
So I've tried to keep it simple over here. I've only made 3 changes, right? So now to get Haaland in, all I've done is basically take the Bruno money, put it to Dewsbury Hall, put that to Gyökeres, and taken Raya down to Petrovic. The rest of the team is pretty much the same. You can chop and change accordingly. It's always permutations, like you mentioned. Munoz down to Richards, takes you Petrovic to Raya. You can go Sanchez, take out Tosin. So you can always meddle around in that sense.
Yeah.
So this, I actually like this one a bit more because, again, I think Haaland over the next few is very, very highly rated in my eyes. And the thing is, with, like we mentioned, right, with all the money there in your 2 guys, you can get to anyone with 2 moves.
Exactly. This is actually a much safer draft than people think, because while you're learning the landscape, because you have the most expensive players in the game, you can move to anybody. So you can get 2 middling price players of your choice once you learned the information that you need to.
And you're pretty much over here, Reinders or Paqueta, whoever you get, they're the 7th guy, and Dewsbury Hall is your sub. Grealish pretty much would play most weeks.
I still would have liked one Arsenal defender, but I don't know how you get it.
Munoz
You can get there, Pras. You can like pretty much do something with the Munoz spot.
Yeah.
Because that's your edge, man. Like this week, nobody's on Arsenal defense.
I mean, you could argue maybe Mateta becomes the worst pick now with all these injuries at Palace also. Maybe you could downgrade over there.
Yeah, I'm worried about Mateta. I would think about taking him on at that price given the injuries at Palace.
Let's say you take him. I know Strand Larsen is injured. Maybe you go Evan Nilsson. The other picks there. Then you can go Munoz Gabriel.
Yeah. That I like that.
Yeah.
And obviously then Chris Richards instead of Tosin. I don't like Tosin as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
So
same. I don't like Tosin either.
Just some stats I wanted to share with you guys about some of these picks.
Can you go back?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, just go back. There's in terms of picks that all 3 of us, I think, very much like Salah. Especially, we none of the 3 of us would go without Salah on wildcard. Senesi, Rodon, and Anderson tend to pick themselves given what they offer at their price points as well. So I think I'm speaking on behalf of all 3 of us. Yeah. All 3 of us really like those picks as well. And then a penalty take or 2. But I think these 4, 5 are almost picks that all 3 of us are on the same page.
I think even João Pedro, LR, there's no reason not to include him now.
Yeah, fair.
Based on what we know. A Palace defender, who it can be also. You can decide. And I think Semenyo also right now has to be up there. Just given what we've seen from Bournemouth, the fixtures, they have to come. I'll share some of his stats. At 7.4, he just looks good value.
He could be having his Rodgers season.
That's what I'm thinking as well.
Yeah.
He completely bullied Porto that game. They had to sub Porto off. He couldn't handle it.
Yeah. He was insane, man. Porto couldn't at all.
Anything else?
Go on to the stats.
Yeah. Just some of the stats we have. Worth reviewing so far. We have some sort of sample size. Obviously, it's still inflated, right? Because you see over here, NPXGI, Haaland's 4.16. Bumo's 2.11, which is very good, but it is inflated largely by the one chance he got against Burnley. We must caveat that also. Sarr is at about 2.03. Anthony Semenyo again, 1.95. Grealish, 1.61. Pedro. It's still a bit noisy. Look at Watkins, 1.24. Not bad at all. Anything you guys with the catch?
It's bad for a 9 million striker playing 270 minutes, but we are patient. Yeah.
I mean, he's not that far from João Pedro. João Pedro has what?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4 returns?
Yeah.
This just shows you that's a bit of variance.
270 minutes is the important point there.
Yeah.
And looks like it'll continue. I thought they'll sign another forward, but they have not. Some team numbers in terms of XGC, non-penalty. Newcastle have been on top with Sunderland in second. Arsenal obviously right up there. Bournemouth is impressive, I think, considering the opposition they have played. They have played Liverpool and Tottenham both away. And then they played Wolves. So 2.86 is very impressive, and with a defense we thought will be a bit unsettled.
Yep.
Apart from the Villa defense.
I wasn't that scared about the Bournemouth defense. I remember we keep talking about which 4.5 million keeper we would go for. I was like, this recruited well. That's why.
Yep. And Tyler Adams, I think, is the big cog in the midfield. He's helping a lot in terms of that solidity. Forest at about mid-table. I wanted to identify Everton over here. Look at where Everton are for XGC non-pen. They're in the bottom 6.
Yep.
In terms of big chances conceded, they've conceded 8 big chances with only West Ham conceding more.
Yep. But Wolves and Burnley, 2 whipping boys that will continue to stay whipping boys in my opinion.
Should mention Manchester United. In terms of XG non-pen, Chelsea right on top, inflated a little bit by the West Ham game. Manchester United also very high over here, 3. Bournemouth over here in 4th. Everton, again, much sexier side than before. 4.33 is impressive. Liverpool are in the bottom half for XG.
Yeah.
Again,
but fixtures, right?
Opponents,
like
exactly.
Everton and Liverpool, both fixtures have led to those numbers as well.
That's the thing. It's all because the shorter sample size will be distorted, but I just wanted to share what we have in terms of limited data.
Yep.
Anything else here, guys? Let's wrap up.
Yeah, let's go to our teams.
Oh yeah, completely forgot about the doing bus teams.
And usually we don't do bus teams on the first week of the international break, but there are certain moving pieces, price changes that it's worth a discussion at least because people might panic. So
Yep. I'll just start with my team. I'll breeze through it. I've got Sells in goal, Porro, Richards, and Anderson. I'm happy with the defense. The rotation has actually worked out fine. All the time doing spreadsheets in mid-season, the rotation has actually worked out there. Wirtz, Salah, Reinders, Cunha, Rogers, Joao Pedro, Watkins. If you're wondering where my glasses are, Cunha broke them. So Cunha and earlier my transfer moves were ideally I was thinking Cunha out to Semenyo and Guiu out to Mateta. I have exact money for that. But with Mateta, I'm slightly put off now a little bit. Maybe I'll just do Cunha to Semenyo and roll the other one. But I do want to bench boost in 5. So maybe if GSL is fit by that time, I can bring GSL in or some others forward, maybe Evan Nilsson, something like that. But EU is a problem now going forward for a bench boost. Thoughts, guys?
Good move. Good plan. Assess the landscape.
This is a good bench boostable team, man. Get Mateta. I mean, it's not like he's become a problem.
I know.
What if Sand Larsen is injured? So I'm going through the problem that you're considering becoming a
next
problem.
week in 5. But like, if I want to go, I'll go Mateta. Then I would be benching Rogers this week.
Yeah. The thing with him just using one transfer is he can decide which striker he wants to after assessing the landscape for a week more.
Correct. I just have to be a bit patient with Rogers, I guess, which I'm finding very difficult. Because unlike Watkins, I think Rogers has been a bit rubbish. He's actually playing poorly. LR, this is your team. You want me to read it out or do you have it?
So Zoph. So you're not going to do anything with Cunha yet, right? You're not moving early.
No, absolutely not, man.
So next Tuesday, we'll have a similar discussion. Yes. I just wanted to be clear on, can anything change between now and the next pod?
No, not for me. Extremely unlikely. Ella?
Sells, Porro, Rodon, Munoz, Salah, Sarr, Reinders, Wirtz, Cunha, Pedro and Watkins. So 2 injury problems at the moment. Unfortunately, Sarr and Cunha, who I both got in last week. I might not take a hit, just sell one of them. If Cunha's injury doesn't look long-term, I might just hold on because I like the fixtures coming for Cunha in 2 weeks' time. So it looks like Sarr to maybe another midfield at the moment because I think my first bench is at the moment Murillo. I am comfortable playing him against Arsenal. I think DEFCON potential is there. So if I want to avoid a hit and just play Murillo. That's where I am.
Would you not play Murillo over Rodon anyway?
I have belief in the Rodon and I want to display my tackles now.
It's away, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, but I believe in just because I own Cells, split the difference.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Man, I don't like Cells now, man. I don't know why I went Cells. I don't like
Pras, that being said, he was on 10 points prior to conceding. This is why we bought Cells. Every time they keep the clean, it's a double digit for him.
Also, it was a 1-0 fixture. They lost their heads. Game state. And conceded 3 goals.
Somerville completely changed the game. The sub, he was so good, man. And obviously, once they concede the first goal, the heads went.
Yeah.
Pras, let's spend some time on your team. Why don't you read it out for us? Do you have it up there?
Yeah, so I've got Cells. I'm playing definitely four at the back this week because I think Poro is good, Richards is good, Anderson is good, and Van de Ven was going. I have 2 million in the bank, by the way. So Van de Ven was going to become Munoz. So I would play those four defenders, which are all great this week, and then Reinders, Salah, Bruno, and Wirtz all fine, and then Mateta and Watkins all fine as well. So Mateta ultimately, if you have him, he's got Sunderland at home, right? So it's not a bad thing. So the team is fine. But I'm trying to future plan and say that if I can make one or even two moves to make it into a better team that can go long, because I want to go wildcard 13 and I'm not rigid about it, but I'm quite set about it because I see a lot of benefits. And the reason I've talked about in the previous pods, I think there will be a big pressure to get Arsenal and Chelsea between 7 and 12. And then there'll be a huge pressure to get Man City, Newcastle, and Liverpool after 12. So because there's such a big difference in the teams you target, I just think breaking there in the middle would be a good strategy. You can also wildcard earlier and then plan your transfers for doing what I'm trying to say also. So that was the reason why Stan Larson was there, why Watkins was there. These guys actually, their best fixtures are to come. So if Stan Larson is injured, that scuppers things a little bit because I want to bench boost in 5, like you said. And this team actually is quite good. If I have Munoz instead of Van de Ven, this team as it stands is actually quite bench boostable because both the Burnley guys are home to Nottingham Forest. Now that's not amazing, but probably the best you'll get for a bench boost. That Burnley are home to Nottingham Forest, and everybody
After
else
their
has a
first
decent
Europa
fixture.
game.
Yeah. So it's a decent enough bench boost that I will go for it. I'll have, I think, these two Reinders away to Arsenal, which is also okay, and one other attacker. That could have been Stan Larson, or that could have been a defender like Poro away to Brighton. Now I'm thinking I can do two moves because I have 2 million in the bank. I can do two things, one of two things, and I'll probably end up doing them. So I will be taking a hit this week. It'll be Van de Ven to Munoz and Sells to Raya because I just think I want that Arsenal defense. I want one Arsenal player this week. So then Raya is in place, and then I want Raya until game week 12, and Munoz is already there. So defenses looks good. I've got my Arsenal defender, and then in game week 7 or something, I get Gyökeres. So I want to have those two guys by game week 7. So a hit might be needed, or this is why I wanted to discuss teams today. Is Strand Larson to Gyökeres? I need 0.5. So I can do Cells down to Petrovic. I can do Poro down to Lacroix. Anyway, I can get 0.5. I can take Stan Larson straight up to Gyökeres. So then I get an Arsenal penalty taking guy who's got good fixtures now, who'll probably be on most people's wildcard team, instead of a potential problem from Wolves who doesn't want to be there and is carrying an injury. So this is the thinking. And I'm trying very hard today to find out how injured is Stan Larson because he's going to drop tonight. So if I have to do it, I have to do it tonight. And I know sitting here talking about it, I'll take the sensible route and I won't do it because taking a hit second day into the international break is not ideal anyway. So I'll probably leave it unless I get some news that he's really, really out.
So you have only one free transfer.
How much you need, Pras?
0.5.
0.5.
0.5?
So you can go
So-
Poro down, or he's talking about going Cells down to Petrovic, or Poro down to maybe a 5.
Lacroix.
Yeah. So like the only false save that might help your decision making is if there isn't much between Lacroix and Richards or any other 4.5 million defender, because there's Senesi in the market
I
as
was
well.
just about to say,
Like-
go Senesi, free up even more.
There's
No, it's-
a bunch. This might affect your ability to hold the transfer until next week, deeper into the international break. Is there are enough good 4.5 million defenders in the market if you miss out on Lacroix for you to make the move later should you fancy waiting?
That's a fair fact. Actually, you've made up my mind. That's why I'm glad I discussed it. If I have to do it later, I can do Poro down to Senesi or something.
Because
Yeah.
injuries can happen over this international break. It's the first one that always, and we've seen players are dropping like flies.
No, you guys are right. And this is why I love BFPL Wire, and those who are listening also love BFPL Wire. You don't have to make a transfer today. I'll just wait. But at least in terms of paths, you see where I'm trying to go. And
Yeah.
Cells is gonna, like, you guys have Cells, man. Like I don't know how you're so, like, I'm free hitting, right? So the best fixture that he has, I don't need him, which is home to Sunderland. And then he has all these tough games, and I get it. I know LR is gonna say that one game where he'll keep a clean sheet, he'll get a 12-pointer. But every game I watch, like Forest don't look the same defense. Europe is coming. I
I'll tell
just
you
think
what
I
the
can
difference I
take him
think
on.
is. Like, so in like where we are differing is I am very likely not free hitting in Game Week 6. I'm planning transfers to get Haaland in Game Week 6, or I'm looking at a Game Week 6 or 8 wildcard. So in my head, spending a transfer where I'm looking to wildcard in maybe 2, 3, 4 weeks doesn't make a difference in my path. So like that's where our thinkings differ because you're committed to the 13 wildcard. I'm committed to a slightly earlier wildcard. That's all.
Yeah, fair enough. And I'm not committed, by the way. I'm
Yeah.
still. This is the
Yeah,
other reason I want to hold off.
You're aiming for a 13 wildcard. I'm aiming
Yeah.
for a slightly earlier wildcard. Yeah.
And for me, in general, I'm not there on Rhea. If I was downgrading, changing a capo move today, I'd be going Petrovic, I think.
Yeah, that's why sells to Petrovic and Stan
That's
Larsen to
appeals.
Gyökeres just sounds like such a nice
It does.
upgrade, no?
Yes, but at the same time, man, I don't think Powder is going to be worth 5.5 going forward.
Yeah. So it's just fine. Like you'll find this like Senesi is there. He's the highest DEFCON monster in the league at the moment. You'll sit comfortably with him. You won't have
Fair
issues. Yeah.
Who do Bournemouth play in Game Week 5? Is it a good fixture?
I
No.
know they have how many?
Spurs.
3 home. No, Bournemouth
No, not
just played
Spurs.
Spurs.
Newcastle. Newcastle at home.
Home. Oh, that's
Yeah.
okay.
At
home you
Vitality,
can-
they're good, man, because I know Bournemouth have 3 home games in the next 4. That's why Semenyo is on my radar.
Almost think 8 is better, huh? Just generally saying. Like,
No,
'cause
but
Burnley
8 is
have
after international break.
Yeah. So that's another problem.
You're going to have 3 yellow flags, which may be fake flags or real flags, but you don't know if you can bench boost with the fake
But isn't
flags. I just
7
know
after
8 won't
international
work.
break? Oh, we have 4
7,
weeks
no.
now.
4 weeks after. Always the structure. 3, then 7, then it goes. 8 is right after IB. He's right.
Oh my God.
That's
I
why
always
5
thought that we
works.
have 3 more weeks. Yeah.
And there's another reason where I want to get Palmer. Actually, that will work even with 8. But I want to get one of these 3 strikers back to Gyu so that I can upgrade Words to Palmer. So that's the path I'm on. So that's why taking bench boost out early is the whole plan so that I can do the bench boost, get Palmer back into my team.
For sure.
Guys, let's wrap up. Fantastic pod. I think we went to close to 2 hours. For an IB pod, I think we've done well.
And it doesn't feel like 2 hours again, man. Like you guys are like generally just
You have
fun
a
to
couple more
talk to.
minutes. You guys have a couple of minutes. I just want to let's just
Yeah.
do quick predictions. Top 4 and relegation.
Okay. All right. This early in the season.
I know, but
Liverpool.
I think Liverpool winning the league with the signings they have made. I think I have to put them up. The Liverpool, Arsenal, Man City. I think let's all concur. Those are the top 3.
And Chelsea. I don't think there's any. They should not. Like most people should think that should be the order.
Agree, LR? I would agree with that.
Yeah, but I'm
Are you going to go Gary
Not,
Neville and throw Manchester United in the 4?
no. I am just about the order. Like it's too early in the season to write Pep Guardiola off in terms of actually being favorites for the league is where
I
I am.
understand, but it's just I think Donnarumma's just been announced. He's coming at 5.5. Is a good signing,
Yeah.
I think. But
Yeah.
Xavi Simons at 7. No, sorry, this guy. There's another important guy who came in at 7,
Yeah.
which I saw and said, yeah, that's interesting.
Like the thing is that
Muani.
Liverpool's 2 toughest fixtures of the season are out of the way with good variance. Like getting 9 points in these fixtures is insane, but it's just that it happened because of a little variance. Like there wasn't much in it. Like Newcastle outplayed them with 10 men in the second half, but people see the outcome. That's the noise. So that's why I'm like, it's too early to write City off in my opinion.
in terms of relegation, I guess Burnley. Let's agree. I think that they would be in my bottom 3.
I'll say one thing. I reckon we might just have 1 promoted team or 2 max. Definitely not 3.
Not 3.
Not 3. The quality of the teams coming up has been nice. All 3, even Burnley, has been much better than promoted teams of previous.
Wolves and Brentford, I think, are going to be Wolves, Brentford, and I think maybe the 3 promoted sides. Yep, they'll be in the mix.
I need to worry. Yeah.
Because West Ham, I'm backing Potter still. I think he'll get it right, despite what we've seen early on.
Any team that you think is not in trouble yet that might just get sucked into it?
Let's have a quick look at the table. Not really, I think.
Not
If
really,
you look 13
right?
down, can Man City get it? No, not really.
Yeah. All right, we had one super chat, I think, or
Oh,
we're
did we?
done. No,
Let me just have a quick look.
No, there was one.
yeah.
Out.
Shaunak said rank 1.2 million and he's happy with the team. 1.8 million in the bank. One free transfer. Any chip advice? He's got Sanchez. Congratulations, firstly, Ronak. 1.2 million is a great place to be. Sanchez, Anderson, Diouf, Poro, Bruno, Moore, Reinders, Kudus, Evan Nielsen, Pedro, Mateta. Got a great team. Dubravka, Wirtz, Torgu, Biol.
Bench. Wirtz is on the bench.
Start
Yeah,
Wirtz.
Over
that
Kudus.
is the advice.
Yep. Start
Please
Wirtz over
start
Kudus.
Wirtz. Like over Kudus for sure, or even Reinders if you want to. But start Wirtz.
Reinders,
That's all.
Manchester
And
United,
save
man.
the transfer.
Agree.
So that you can probably play a bench boost. A bench boost later. That's all. Team's in a good place.
Let's wrap up, guys.
Excellent.
All right,
Enjoy
that's
the
it.
break, everyone.
And we'll see you Thursday morning, India time, with a wildcard chat with Watch, which I'm looking forward to.
Fantastic. Looking
Love
forward to catching that one. Everyone, enjoy the international break. Don't stress about FPL too much. It's designed to be an escape for the game. Do not let it ruin your weekends. Things will get a lot easier. I think in general, the league has taken a bit of time to settle, and it is a tougher game. I wrote in my article today the top 1 million is about 27 points off worse than last season, right? So naturally, the variance increases between the have and have nots. It's easy to look at teams that are doing well and feel worse. We all put a lot of time into games, but it'll all turn around. Give it some time.
One general advice is like reduce the bubble you're exposed to. Like, because if you're exposed to and listening to 100 players, or you're talking to them or looking at them on Twitter, all the players except the players you own will have done well. You'll see all of that. So it just always feels like you've never done enough. So maybe reduce that.
Cool, guys. Fantastic talking to you. See you guys again next week. LR will be back with the Wildcard Pod on Thursday. Remember to like, subscribe so you do not miss. Thanks again.